classes need to be in time.
Really enjoyed this presentation.
Tell mechanics, too. He's on his neck set about every time for a month.
I know teenagers, they like, she got me mic'd, so I won't talk.
Okay.
Good morning, folks. We got some folks moving in slow, and also as we're reminded, all the young classes and young adults need to come on in, please. Well, it's good to see everyone this morning as we look forward to our day of worship, and it is a day that we've been looking forward to. Just so great to have Gary Jones and Cindy with us, and some of you remember back. Now, Gary said a while ago it was too far back, but. The Monroe is always part of his family, and again, we're grateful. In our mission works, this has been a great one for us. Gary and Cindy have kept us well informed with their bulletin. Appreciate that so much. And this church family has been very good in our missions, and number of you that have taken on some of the individual students and kids in the school and in the home, and we'll be looking forward to hearing about that. Gary will bring us our Bible school, talking about the missions. Always just enjoy that so much, and then he will be bringing us our worship today. And again, we're looking forward to that. Do we have any I know we've got still a lot of sick. I understand that the Miller family is dealing with some COVID. We've had some flu cases and just a number of things. Anyone we need to...
Sharon's out with her irregular bowel.
Sharon is what? Excuse me. Not here. Yeah, I know. Is she feeling all right, or... Yeah. Let's please keep sharing in our prayers. Again, good to see all of you. Again, welcome. And Gary, please pray with me, please. Father, again, we thank you for the blessings of this day, for this day of worship, that we can come together in your Son's name and to remember his gift. And Father, we just ask thy special blessings for Gary and Cindy, for your safe keep. Watch over them to keep them safe. And again, as we give thanks for our brothers and sisters in India, as we look forward. Keep us safe, keep us well, but always in your word and in your Son we pray. Amen. Brother Gary?
Good morning. Cindy and I are so glad to come. We always enjoy coming to Monroe. It's almost like a second home to us, even though it's been many years since we worked here. But we always keep in touch and hear from others about what's going on here, and always pray for you guys, as I know you pray for our work in India. And before we begin, I always want to thank you for all you do for our work. I think I'm entering or completing, it's hard to keep up with years, I think I'm completing 16 years in India and starting the 17th one, I believe, this coming June. So, time goes by very quickly with all the work we have to do wherever we might live. But thank you for all your support of the children and the support that you give monthly to help the work continue. And you'll see as we go through the slide presentation, some updated slides, maybe some of the older slides. And I can let you know some of the things that's happening there. I'm going to probably back over here where I can see the big slide. I don't have my glasses on. Okay. But anyway, I've said before, our work is purpose. We have many types of works that you see listed here. We take care of orphans and widows. I have 6 widows now that work with me and for me as cooks, or overseeing the smaller children, or helping in preschool care or kindergarten care, things like that. We continue with our village evangelism and church plantings. Right now it's very difficult, and we can talk about that a little bit later, but the Indian government has put their foot down on Christianity in India. Not only Christianity, they're trying to put their foot down on Islam, but they got a fighting religious group there to deal with. We are peaceful people, full of good works, and that's one of the reasons we grow so fast in India, because Hinduism, their religion, has no compassion, no sense of benevolence, really. And so we reach out to people. We're always helping people. That's what Jesus tells us, to be full of good works and to take care of ourselves and then take care of other people as we have the opportunity. It makes a difference. Our Christian school is growing, and that's our focus right now, because through the Christian school and receiving more students who will pay to come to school, tuition, uniforms, books, all that, then this work will become a fully Indian work, I hope, I've been saying this for 4 years now, okay? But the pandemic has set me back. But hopefully within another year or 2 years, then that work will be turned over to the Meow Road Church of Christ, the congregation that we established there. And then the board will be made up of members only of the road, and I can retire and come home. Perhaps do another work in another country, or maybe stay home and let my wife be my work for a while, so forth. But so a lot of work we do, our relief work, we're always doing relief work. If there's a disaster, or if there's an earthquake, if there's a tsunami, we respond with medical care anytime those happen. We're always doing medical camps. Just did one, I think 7 weeks ago, that I'll show some pictures on. Our medical missions continues to grow. Our medical mission is totally free. We furnish the medicines, the treatment, and all the things to take care of these village people who have no money whatsoever. The Antioch Press, I'll talk about as we get in there. And of course, our final goal, as I said, we want to be a fully self-supporting work in India, that we can cut off the American dollar and let it be run by rupees, and let the American dollar be used somewhere else in the world, or even in this country, to continue to grow the church. I ask for your prayers for these particular areas. The pandemic, I don't know much about the history of the pandemic. There's so much confusion there, but COVID is real, and all of us probably have had a touch of it in some way or another, but it's a big problem in India with about 1.4, 1.5 billion people. You cannot count the deaths in India from COVID. There's no way. In my village, which is a jungle village with hardly any communication, hardly any electricity, people die around us, and we bury them the same day they die. There's no embalming, so if they die in the morning, we put them in the ground in the evening. And by the time we make a wooden coffin and put them in it, it's time to bury them. So there's no way to test those who die, whether they die of COVID or not. But anyway, please pray for the obstacle we have there with the pandemic and with the violent and the government problems against the church and against any form of Christianity in India. And that depends on where you're at in India. South India, it's becoming severe in South India, but depends on what part of India you're in. Where I'm at, maybe a month or two, it seems peaceful. Then all of a sudden, a riot will take place, a church building will be burnt down, and things will happen to Christians, particularly the Hindu Christian who we have converted. They're being forced to convert back to Hindu and renounce Christ. And this is happening by the thousands and thousands every day in India, all over India. If they find a Hindu and they become a Christian or an Islam, they force them back into Hindu, or they will lose their job, lose their house, perhaps lose their own life by continuing to be a Christian. So that's a major problem we have. It's called Hindu nationalism. Hindustan is the word they use over there. It means return to India. That's what Modi, the Prime Minister, who's now in his 10th year, I think, as a Prime Minister, it's his goal that everyone in India is a Hindu. And if you're not, leave the country. And if you are Indian, then you reconvert, and they'll do everything they can to make that happen. Things like this you don't see anymore. No more open classes, and this is a denominational class being taught there somewhere on the road there outside of Bihar. And can't do anything like that. You can't have your Bible out in the open anywhere. Even in my hostels, when we have nightly singings and devotional, they're very disturbed by our singing. And they'll come to the gate and say, "You are singing your Christian songs too loud." But we continue to sing, okay? So far, they haven't done any violence to our school or to our homes. This is our Christian school. It always began with a wall that we've painted all the way around the school. These walls were painted by our children, and so they've done a very good job with their artwork. Here's a picture of the school. This was taken back in October. The only thing I brought over there was a sense of Halloween. I've gotten some letters in response against that over here, but that's the only thing these kids, they love to do the door decoration contest. And we have a contest, first, second, and third prize for the best room who decorates their doors. And you can see they're involved in it in this picture. Here's a picture of some of the kids, most of them. This is back in the fall. Now we've added probably 30 more, but we're coming to the end of the fourth quarter and starting our new year in March 1st. And I will be back over there in January to get all that set up and hopefully add another 100 students. With 100 paying students, I think we'll be almost self-supporting in India. A picture of our science lab, you've seen this before. We use it quite often. All science subjects can be taught in there. And some of our classroom pictures, teaching in the classrooms. If you notice, we have the modern desks. I'm the only one that has them, and that I know of, all in that area of India. They still have the long tables with a wooden bench and 10 kids sitting on one bench and no room to move. But we have a modern school. We teach everything in English. If they come to our school and they cannot speak English, we put them in a program we developed called English Immersion. That means they have English all day long, 7 class periods a day for a whole year, until they know English well enough to put them in our classrooms. And then they will learn everything they will learn in English. And that's important because if you're going to go anywhere in India or really anywhere in the world, you need to have the English language because that's the business language of the world. And anyone who works for the government of India, they must speak English. Anyone who goes into the military and desires to be an officer must be proficient in English. To go to any university in India that's of any reputation, everything is taught in English. So this is a great tool that we use, and these kids will have an opportunity because they know English. And just some pictures of the kids. This is in our sewing room. The girls take a home ec. They take sewing as their most primary subject, and they make their own diagram to cut out on, and make their own stuff, as you see here, pants and shirts and these little dresses they just made, I guess about a month ago. I brought a lot of material. I said, make a dress for all the girls to wear to church on Sunday. And so that's what they're in the process of doing. Our libraries, the kids receiving, this is Bible Awards. We have Bible competition monthly based on one book of the Bible. We've gone through the Bible. We're in our 4th year of going through the Bible again, class book by book. And they all compete for these. Here's our Jacob's Hostel for Boys, where our boys live. This is some of the pictures of it, and some of the students that supported here. I appreciate so much the support. I may have missed a picture or two, but I hope not. Mooney been with me for a long time, and Jack, and Jobosa, and Shanu. Here they are in their dining hall, eating. They only pretty well eat rice and whatever we can get to put over the rice. Sometimes just rice. But they're satisfied. I could give them, well, they won't eat beef over there, but I could give them a whole chicken, but if they don't have rice, they haven't eaten. They have to have rice, It's what they live on. And we can't grow rice, and the price of it has really skyrocketed. But they eat 2 big plates of rice and vegetables and meat twice a week, and they're growing boys, and they eat a lot. Here they are still in the dining hall, another picture. These boys are my little boys. They're 4 and 5 year old. They're in my preschool, but they live with me in a hostel. So I have a woman who oversees them, and of course a male warden that watches them. But they are sometimes a challenge. You can imagine leaving your home at 3, 4, and 5 and come to live in a hostel like we have. But they learn English so quickly at this particular age. I think something funny happened here. I'd seen these boys play, and they looked very dirty, so I sent an email to my administrator. I said, these boys are dirty. You need to make sure they take baths. So it wasn't about an hour later, I get another picture sent through email, and all these boys like this are standing there totally naked, okay? He said, they're clean now. I said, don't send me naked pictures on the internet. I don't want to go to jail in USA. So anyway, they were clean. Here's the places where they sleep, just a very simple place. We make the beds, everything that they have. We make, now we're converting everything to bunk beds because we're going to double our population of students over the coming years. So we'll add and double this. This is age 5 to about age 10. And then we have another hostel for the older boys. Here you see them at their beds. They play a lot on their beds and in their rooms. If it's super hot in the daytime, it's cooler in the room. But the rooms are very hot too. Boys always have their chores to do. We're very strict, and they have a regimen all day long. You know, when you have a lot of students and a lot of children, keep them busy. And so there are always things. These older boys have the chores. They're washing down the walls because it's so dusty during the summer months. English class being taught at night. In the study period, they have 2 hours of study every night, except for Saturday night. And so he's learning an English lesson there. Boys are very involved in vocational. Certain boys who have reached age 16 and they don't have a desire to go to college, we put them through vocational training. They become carpenters, plumbers, electricians. Now we're moving into auto mechanics, and that gives them a way to make a living. All these boys here are true orphan boys that's been with me since they were very, very little from Bihar. And now they're reaching 17, 18, 19 years of age. Here's some beds that they're making. We'll make many of these beds. I'm not sure what wood that is, but it's a wood from the jungle that we have and sawn in the sawmill and brought out to us. We have our birthdays every month for the boys. A lot of times we don't know what their birthday is, but we give them one and celebrate their birthday. In India, people just don't keep up with birthdays. I like that idea as I get older, but we keep it for them because it's something that we can separate them out and give them a little honor. It looks like they're getting a few suckers each. They love to play. They call football, we call soccer, and you can see through the games over the last few days how popular soccer is becoming worldwide, even with this country. But they love to play soccer, and they play the game cricket, love to shoot marbles. They're not able to keep the marbles they win. They have to give them back, but they love to play marbles. Here's our monthly Bible Bowl competition, just some part pictures of them, but the boys compete against the girls at different ages all the way down to see who's going to win the trophy of the month. Does it go to the girls' hostel or does it go to the boys' hostel? And it's sort of evenly divided. It just switches back and forth. Boys doing a Devo outside at one late evening. We have Devo every evening about 5:30, boys and girls. The girls in their hostel. The boys are having an evening Devo outside rather than in the kitchen area. Our mushroom house, boys are packing bags so we can sow our mushroom seeds. And that goes very, very good. We can grow an awful lot of mushrooms. We really wholesale most of these mushrooms rather than eating them ourselves. Our boys would eat every one of them if I didn't watch it. but we sell them, so we take that money and it goes into a fund that will continue this work and help to continue the work. Actually, I've got black Brazilian mushroom growing now, and pure black mushroom. I don't eat any mushrooms, but anyway, people like them. We get 650 rupees per kg, which is about $3 a pound, which is good money in India. Here's our girls at Rainbow Village, some of the girls that you are helping me support. Obi, she's such a sweet child, and Melito, and Yasna, and some other pictures we'll see in a moment. This is just an open picture. You've seen this before of some of the older girls. 3 of these girls now I have in college. I have 5 girls in college now, and you help me pay for their tuition. They will come back and be teachers in my school. One of them will be my bookkeeper when she comes back. 4 of them will be teaching in my school. I have 3 more that will go in April and 2 more that will go next August. So I'm trying to get all my teachers trained from my orphan kids or from my students, and they'll come back and do all my teaching. And I will be very, very comfortable with that. A couple of other pictures of them. Here they're having the Devo. Brother N.G. is teaching the Devo. He oversees the work when I'm not there, and probably he will be the chairman when I steps down as chairman of the foundation of the work. Some pictures of the girls. This is on a Sunday. This picture is very neat. This little girl on the left, she was brought to me, I guess, 6, 7 months ago, and she had no one. They just brought her out of the jungle, 38 mile. In India, from where I'm at to the Chinese border, every village has a mile number, and so the village is known by the mile. So she's from 38 mile, okay? And she had nothing. I said, well, bring her to me. And then you see her after she's been with me about a couple of months on the ride in the black shirt. She's just totally changed and different and so happy and so contented. And that's what we try to make happen. Our agriculture is going well. The dry season has come, so cool weather is coming. So cabbage and carrots and lettuce and all that type of stuff is being planted and so forth. So you can see some of the produce that comes from the gardens that we have. Probably 15 acres under cultivation there. You see the green beans. I don't know why they grow so much chili, but they eat chili until it comes out of their ears. It's interesting, my medical clinic, I'd say 25% of people who come into my medical clinic are having stomach problems. I say, I know exactly your problem. You eat too much chili. But girls cutting okra, which is not their favorite job, of course, but we grow a lot of okra. They call it ladies' fingers. I don't know how you get a lady's fingers out of a piece of okra, but that's what it's called. And we have a big pineapple patch. We can get pineapple all 4 months a year. We can pick pineapple, and so pineapple's a good fruit, and we eat a lot of it and sell some of it. And you can see the cabbages and I call them pumpkins. They call them gourds and okra. Always snakes in our area. There's 25 species of poisonous snakes in northeast India. No pit vipers there in South India, thank goodness. But these are all poisonous. But as far as I know, no one has ever been bitten in my area, at least among my kids. The girls are very quick at killing them. They're not afraid of them. I run, and I say, I tell you, you go kill that snake for me. No problem, Papa. And she'll take care of it, but she wants to bring it and show it to me afterwards. I said, you may have just knocked it out. That happened to me one time. Girls picking tea. We have a pretty large tea garden, which we pluck tea during the rainy season for about eight months, maybe 9 months. We can pluck tea every Saturday. And that tea we sell on the side of the road to the tea gatherers who come and buy it, weigh it, and buy it. All that money will go to help fund this work as the time goes on. They're very good tea pluckers. They do a good job. It gets super hot. If I'm there, I'll buy some balloons, let them fill them full of water, and have a water balloon fight, and that'll cool them off. So that's what they're doing now. I think one of them's throwing buckets of water down a balloon. These are my girls I just put in college. They're just completing their first semester. And all these girls came to me very, very little, and now they're 18 to age 22. And we have them in college. They're very smart, perfect in English, and well thought of by their teachers already. The one on the far, one right in the middle is Monica. She's my oldest one. She's 22. But she's so good in English, the class appointed her as the head of the class because of her English skills. Because most schools will teach a combination of Hindi English, not full English. We do full English. And you can see Johnson on my right. Let me back up a minute. Johnson had been with me. He's a little boy when he came to me. He's in his 5th year getting a science and a master's degree in laboratory sciences. And you say, how that's going to help me? Well, he'll come back and live with us and work with us, be on our board, and he wants to start his own lab there close by. And that may employ some of our people. So he's doing a very, very good job at the top of his class in Guwahati. These are some of the girls that's preparing to go to college. 4 of them are in college. Others will go coming April. And then next year I'll have 3 boys that'll be preparing to go. And so when the girls, they have to come home every other Saturday if they want to, because they're about 40 miles from where I'm at in Namsai University. They'll come home on Saturday and stay and teach classes on Sunday to the kids, and then they'll go back Sunday evening. But they stay and sleep on the floor in my medical room in my cottage, and they just camp out there. But I took a bazooka bubble gum. I've never taken it over there before. They'd never been able to blow a bubble. You can't do that with chewing gum. So we had a bubble blowing contest there, and that's what they're trying to do. And you can see what happens. So they enjoyed that competition there. Here's 3 of our Lisu girls. This is their traditional outfit that they will wear. They wear it at special occasions. They will wear it at their wedding. They will be buried in it when they die. And they all have one that they make when they get a certain age and then adjust it as their body changes in shape. But it's a beautiful outfit. Here's a Bible class I was teaching, and they just all fell asleep on me. Don't do that this morning, okay? No, it gets so super hot. This is probably July or June or August is our hottest month, like it is here. And they just lay down on the floor to take an afternoon nap. And this is on a Sunday afternoon. They just pass out on the floor. I don't know if I could do that on that hard floor, but they enjoy the coolness of the wood rather than the beds that they have. This is one of our little blind girls, Priya, and she's listening to the Bible on the audio tape. I need to get some more of those because they really enjoy them. I have 12 blind children with me now. These are the smaller girls I put on my bus. I took them up to Miao, which is 5 kilometers away. It's what we call our town, but I can't think of a town here small enough to be Meow, but a very small place. But they do serve ice cream, okay? The frozen ones you get out of the ice chest. So I take these girls for their very first ice cream. They've never had an ice cream in their life, you know. I can't buy them and get them back to my village without them melting. So I took them on the bus and got them their first ice cream. Some of them didn't like it. Papa, it hurts my teeth too much. But anyway, they enjoyed that. Here's our school, multi-purpose building that I've been working on about 2 years now to build, okay? And you've been a very help to that. Last week I was in West Virginia and a congregation gave me $30,000 to complete paying for this building. So now that's a big burden off my shoulders. It's paid for now. I've got to furnish it, but it's been paid for. It makes such a difference in our work. It'll be the first time that the church as a whole can come together in one place, because our boys and those part of them worship with the boys, and then the girls worship with the girls. And so now we'll bring everyone together. We have about 75 adults in the congregation now. And so we needed this building very much. You can see how we have to worship. And this, when we had to have classrooms outside, and during the rainy season, that's almost impossible. And so we needed to make a meeting. And it's also the multi-purpose building of the school. We can seat up to 500 in this building. And we'll have 350 students, and with 50 teachers. Well, on Sunday, we're going to have about 450 people on our first Sunday that we'll have when I get back on February 1st. And so that's the reason we decided to start building this building. It was a big project, pretty expensive, but it will be there for 100 years or more. You can see the building coming up. I'll show you some pictures of it. And it's very large. I think it's 180 feet by 120 feet. And it'll be one of the nicest buildings in the area. And I would imagine the government would like to use it from time to time, which is fine with me. If they want to use it for their convention, we want to make it accessible to many people. Now we've got the floor done. Right now it's just an open courtyard, but you can see us working on the floor. In the far distance is the stage. That's where the pulpit would be. A baptistry is going to be put in the very back. Of course, there'll be a drop ceiling put in. And we have 8 classrooms that'll be in the building, which will give us enough room for another 200 students. So it's a very important building for us. And we don't have cement machines. You know, over here you just order a cement truck, bring out cement. But everything here has got to be mixed bag by bag. You got to have sand and then a bag of cement. You have to mix it. And this is a huge floor to cover. Plus there's a lot of other cement work that's going on. And you can see the cement's been put on the side. It's been bricked with the red brick that we make locally. And then they cement over it, and then we'll paint it. We'll mud it first, and then we'll paint it. But you can see the building coming up. And now we're through with the outside, except for the final painting, signboarding, and windows, and then we'll start working on the inside. Our medical missions, again, we do a lot of them. I haven't had a major disaster in the last year or so, besides the pandemic itself. Okay, so. Am I in your way? I hope not. But the medical clinic that we hold, just had one, like I say, about 7 weeks ago. These pictures are from that clinic. You never know who's coming through the door. We do it in villages as a way of showing Christianity and the works that we do. It makes a big difference. We have Bibles, tracts, talk to them on the outside as they wait to come to see me in the clinic. And it makes a big difference. But you never know what's walking in there. There's a little boy just with stomach problem, probably too much chili even at that age. This boy on the right, I see this a lot. This is one of the biggest boils I've ever seen, but it's a job when it gets that big. It requires cutting and drainage and then suturing and to get that well. This is a leopard colony that I worked in for about a week, maybe 8 weeks ago or 9 weeks ago. Very sad. It's run by the Church of Christ. This is in not Telugu, it's in Tamil Nadu. And this is Ricky Gooten on the far left. Some of you may know Ricky. He graduated from Freed. His brother Ronnie lives in Memphis. He has another brother who works there with him. His father is Joshua. He was considered the very first Church of Christ convert in India by J.C. Bailey. He still lives. He just left Memphis from surgery to go back to India. But anyway, I worked in the leopard colony and helped do some dressing and things like that. And leprosy is something you don't want to ever get, and you probably here will never get it. But India has a big problem with it. It's by far the largest leprosy problem in the world is India. Just last year, 122,000 documented new cases of leprosy. And the thing about it, it's curable. You know, three different antibiotics over a 2-year regimen. You got to have certain antibiotics, and they're expensive. You can be cured if you get to it in the early stages. These people in the later stages, there's no cure for them. But they're no longer contagious. They can't get it to you. It would be very difficult for them to. But eventually they lose, the toes. I used to think in leprosy your fingers and toes fall off, but they don't. Your body absorbs them back into the body and just takes them away. And that's what happens when the toes and the fingers go away. But eventually these feet will go, be taken either by rotting and being amputated, and it just moves up the body. This man there, helped treat him and changed his dressing, but that prosthetic there was just terrible. I think it must have came over 100 years ago or something. So we bought him a new one, and you see him in the right picture receiving this new prosthetic, and they will put it on him, and he'll have a much better use of that leg. This patient came to me, maybe 3 months ago, and with this on the left side. That's what he looked like when he came to me. But he chewed tobacco and betel nut, most of his life. Kept a wad right there in his jaw. And when I saw him, there's no hope for him. There's nothing I can do for this. And about 2 weeks later, he dies, and they send me this picture of him and his death. But he couldn't eat, couldn't swallow. You don't want to chew tobacco. You don't want tobacco in your body if you can help it, because you don't want something like that happening to you. This is another sad problem in our area. Like it used to be here in North Georgia, a lot of moonshining. No more moonshining up here, right? But in India, there's a lot of moonshine stills, okay? And a lot of times people come through villages selling you moonshine, but they'll put methanol in it, and that gives you a kick. It can kick you straight to the grave. That's what happened here. This man comes through this Simpu village about 10 miles away from me and sells this moonshine to this husband and wife. They drink it together. She dies in the morning, he dies in the afternoon. Okay? Horrible way of dying. And now they're being prepared for their burial. We made the pine boxes, and of course they decorated with some flowers. And then you see the wood we've gathered, and they'll be placed on top of the burning pyre, and they'll be burned. Usually there's bones to gather up, can't burn everything. And then those are just taken off and buried somewhere. And the bottom one is the Hindu. These are Hindus. They're weighing their future life in the scale there, where they were going to be going. But they only had one survivor, and that's one son, and they gave him to me so I can maybe try to turn his life around and straighten him out, because he lost everything. It's interesting, when something like this happens, they burn their house down. So after they burned their body, they went and set fire to their house, their ownings, their clothing, anything. They burned it all as if they never existed on the earth. And but the boy, they let me have. And he's doing well, but a lot of tragedy there. Birthing takes place a lot with our midwife clinic, and going to the villages and handing out the birthing kits that we make here in this country. And it makes a big difference in saving the life of these babies. I won't read all this, you've seen it before, but India leads the world in babies dying at birth and the mothers dying at birth because of uncleanness in the childbirth process. And so we just try to give them a good, clean birthing kit. If we're there, we can help them. If not, they deliver their own babies using this kit. And there's no problem if they will do that, at least very little problem. So we give out a lot of these kits. This is a nurse who's come to Rainbow to get some kits to take back to the hospital with her. Even the hospitals are asking me for these kits, because our kits are cleaner than most hospital rooms where they birth these babies. And here's a new baby that we just delivered. We do a lot of preaching, and that's what we're over there for. We preach through the good things we do. We preach through our medical clinics. We preach through our disaster relief. But above all, we just want to open the Bible and preach to people about the wonderful news of Jesus Christ, the only good news the world has to offer. And Brother Simpson is a very powerful preacher. We build these little buildings like you see down here on the right out of bamboo and tin. I can build that whole building for $800 probably, maybe $1,000 now with the pandemic. I'm not building too much anymore. I've had 3 of these burned down by the Hindu JBP party. They'll come and burn them down. They'll come and say, if we're having service, which happened 2 times, they'll say you have 15, 20 minutes. If you don't leave, we're going to kill you. So we leave, of course, and then they burn the building down. So I'm not building too many more buildings. Here we are doing evangelism. It's always in poor houses, and this is a Simpo house that you see here that Simpson's gone to teach at. This is Brother Anand. He's going off into the jungle to a village. And again, we live and work in the jungle area. And this is a house he goes to. And we have lots of conversions. Even now, In the last 6 months, I guess we baptized maybe 16, 18 Hindus. But they take great risks becoming a Christian. If a BJP finds out in this distant village that we're in that we baptize, they'll come behind us. And they will hurt these folks very much if they don't recant and come back to Hinduism. But hopefully they'll be strong, and we try to help them as much as we can. But lots of baptisms are coming, and we're really growing. This is a still, I guess we all would know, but making liquor, hopefully no methanol in that yet. But that's a big problem in northeast India. Maybe in the far North Georgia mountains still, I'm not sure. So just many conversions. This is the last Hindu family that we baptized. They're probably 10 miles from me in a village called Namphai 1. And every one of these have been baptized that you see standing with me. And I want to say as I close, and maybe have some time for some questions, or we may be out of time, but again, just thank you for all you do. You know, this work is our work. I always say that. It's our work. Because I couldn't do it without you. It's impossible, you know. I actually have the privilege to be able to go to another country and to preach and teach and try to make a difference for our sake, for all of us. So whatever you do, when you contribute, remember what you're doing it for, and how much appreciation that I have for it, and Cindy and Clinton, the eldership who oversees my work, and of course God for the things we do in His name. Appreciate those who support these children. You know, you can send gifts to them. I'm not sure how much time, maybe 50% of them will make it there, 50% of them will disappear, but it's hopefully going to get a little better. And they love letters. You can send letters, the address and everything. If you have a child, you have their address. If not, contact me and I will give you the mailing address. You can always send it to me and I can take something over to them. I will leave sometime in January going back. But student adoption, I didn't bring anything tonight, this morning, but if you would like to have a child, it's $25 a month. It makes a big difference for me. You know, it adds up and it helps these kids with their school books and their uniforms, things of that nature. And there's my good wife and maybe my twin brother with her. I keep trying to figure that picture out. I've got an identical twin brother, but I think that's me. But thank you. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Any questions? Again, thank you so much, Gary, for your good work. And Gary will be bringing our message of worship today.